What's going on, guys? I'm HairyPinecones, and this is part 3 of Do Not Take This Cat Home. Now, this is a horror novel, so there may be some touchy subjects, so if you haven't watched the previous 2 videos, the first one does have an extensive content warning list of some of the possible triggers. Now, in the previous videos, which I'll link down in the description, we took the kitty we found in a box home with us and got all the endings for doing things alone and doing things with the cat. But as much as it pains me, this video is going to be roughly half of the possible endings we can get from leaving the cat instead of taking it home with us. But before we head in, if you're new here, consider subscribing for more calming horror content, as much of an oxymoron as that might be, and like the video and let me know down in the comments which ending we've unlocked so far is your favorite. Now, there is a Patreon in the description if you enjoy the content and want to help support the channel and its growth. Now, with all that said, let's hop in and very painfully leave the cat where we find it. Alright, I'm sorry, kitty. Now we gotta leave you. Sadly, as cute as the cat is, you'd never take this thing home with you. You just can't take it home with you. You're a responsible adult. You are. With rent and bills to pay for, not to mention you need to buy food to survive too. There's no way you could care for a cat long term, right? You can barely afford this little outing on your day off. What to do? Sorry, buddy. You don't think it's a good idea to get the cat's hopes up of having someone look after it if you're not willing to commit. What if it gets attached and somehow tracks you down back to your home? That little snippet said you'd never get away from it then. Sorry. See you around, I guess. You stand up, the cat watching your every move. You make it halfway out the alley when the cat meows almost pitifully at you. I'm sorry, buddy. No. Nope. You need to nip this in the bud and get on with your day. It's what's best for both of you. You leave the alley and continue on your way. Wait, what was I doing? In all the excitement of dealing with your furry dilemma, you'd forgotten that you still hadn't decided on what you were going to do with your day off. Let's go watch a movie. It's been a while since a film came out that looked interesting enough for you to drag yourself to a movie theater. But there's a showing of one such film at the old theater. The movie was a little too niche to be picked up by the new cinema that opened right across the street. That's okay though, you're not exactly a fan of the crowds. And nothing ruins the experience of watching a new movie for you more than a noisy audience. We'll go to the old theater. You eagerly buy your ticket from the kind old man in the booth and head inside. It's barren of any trace of other people, and the decor looks like it hasn't changed since the 80s. Maybe even the 70s. But it's what you were counting on. You consider buying some popcorn, but can't help but be concerned that everything at the concession stand might be expired. You move on and walk through the halls, finally locating the theater designated on your ticket stub. As expected, the theater your movie will be playing in is completely empty. Perfect. You pick a spot right in the middle, even counting the seats and taking into consideration the gap for the staircase. As you settle in, the dim lights fade away, leaving the room pitch black for a few seconds. Before the screen flickers on, no commercials or trailers pop up, the movie just begins. Pleased, you shrug and let yourself get immersed in the opening scene. But just as you're getting into the premise, the doors open behind you momentarily, casting light into the room and ruining the atmosphere. You hold in a frustrated sigh. It's a public establishment after all. Place can't exactly offer to stay open if you're the only customer. You try to refocus on the movie, but you sense the new presence slowly shifting around the theater before heading in your general direction. What? You gape in utter disbelief as a stranger shuffles down the aisle only to sit right in front of you. There's no one else here and plenty of places to sit. The stranger is also unusually tall. Even with the stadium-like arrangement of the seats being on a somewhat steep incline, they're completely blocking your view. Alright, we're gonna confront the stranger. You hate confrontation. You can already feel your palms starting to sweat at the idea of it. Your throat's closing up and your body's starting to shake. You've always been more of a flighter than a fighter. But you paid for this ticket. You've wanted to watch this movie for ages. And now this total stranger has ruined the entire experience for you. You're all alone in this theater. There's no one who'll help you if something goes wrong. But you're angry enough that you ignore the signs of your body begging you to put as much distance as you can between yourself and the stranger. You stand up. Even standing and higher up on the incline, the stranger is still at least a head taller than you. The movie continues to play in the background, but you feel as if a hush immediately falls heavily over the theater at your movement. As if you can sense the stranger anticipating what you plan to do next. You square your shoulders and force a little bass into your voice. Hey! The effort makes your words come out more harshly than you intended, like a sudden and vicious bark. But you figure they deserve it anyway. You're being a real jerk, you know that? Just what are you playing at, huh? Are you trying to piss me off? The silence that follows your words is deafening. So much so that you glance at the screen only to find that the movie has paused. Your attention is ripped back to the stranger in front of you as they shift slightly. Like a small animal trying desperately to anticipate the moves of a predator. You don't move an inch. You don't look away. You don't dare to blink. Instead, your eyes widen as the person's head turns. Then turns some more. Then turns more, beyond what should be possible, neck bones cracking, to face you directly. You can't move. Wide, glowing eyes resting above a wider, grinning mouth gaze down at you. The stranger opens their mouth, and what comes out is something impossible to comprehend. The voice is endlessly deep and creaks like a weighty door, foreboding and oddly melodic, alluring. But it also snaps you out of your terrified trance, and before you know it, you're already out the door. You run through the halls of the empty theater, heading for the exit. You feel something watching you from behind, but you're too afraid to look. The exit now in sight, you sprint forward and burst through the doors. You look around frantically and spot the crowded cinema across the street. People, that's what you need. Safety in numbers and all that. Without thinking, you rush into the street when a sinking sensation crawls down your spine, compelling you to look behind you. We gotta look behind us. Despite your resistance, you feel your head turning to look back of its own accord. While in the middle of the street, you catch a glimpse of a grotesque-looking person standing behind the glass doors of the old theater, watching you intensely. cradling something in their arms. Something familiar. But a glimpse is all you get as a truck speeds forward and crashes into your body. You're killed on impact. Your body splattered across the road and crushed further under the heavy tires. Ending 16. Poor screening arrangements. Okay, this time we're gonna go to the new cinema. You don't know why, but you don't really feel great about the idea of being alone right now. Deciding to wait for the movie you've been anticipating to be available on DVD or streaming, you join the long line outside the new cinema. By the time you've reached the ticket booth, you just want to get inside. So you pick a movie at random and take your ticket from the tired-looking teenager manning the booth. The decor is chic and sleek, and the inside is bustling with people. It's not what you're usually into, but it's kind of nice not being alone. Even if you feel a little lonely, watching families and groups of friends laughing among themselves. You'd get some popcorn, but the lines at the concession stands are long and the prices are criminal anyway. You go through the halls and follow the signs to the theater designated on your ticket before heading inside. You sigh at the sight of the absolutely crowded theater. You head towards a seat, only to be told by the person next to it that it's being saved for someone. This happens a few more times before you finally manage to get yourself settled into a seat, annoyingly off-center to the screen. But the screen is at least visible, if not a little too close, so you grit your teeth and bear it. The lights fade out, but the chatter doesn't. The rest of the audience seems content to talk through the commercials and even through the trailers. You figure the chatter will stop when the movie actually begins, but it doesn't get even slightly quieter as the opening scene starts to play out. You sigh out loud, not thinking anyone would hear you anyway. This is why you avoid movie theaters like the plague. Suddenly, the screen changes, showing the face of a black cat. A familiar black cat. Confused murmurs fill the room, but then the cat on the screen meows. The sound is strange, and not at all like any cat should sound. Haunting, almost melodic, and layered as if made of multiple voices of different creatures. Creatures that would probably never say. You sit in confusion, wondering why you haven't already gotten up and left to complain to the cinema staff. But then you hear it. It's scattered and dissonant at first, but among the crowd, people start to chant along with the cat on the screen. Soon, the entire room is chanting in perfect unison, everyone staring intently at the cat on the screen. You're feeling strangely drawn to the screen yourself, but the compulsion to stare blankly like the others isn't that strong. For now, also, you start to notice out of the corner of your eye that some of the people in your immediate vicinity are looking at you. No, they're outright staring holes into you, even as they continue chanting. They don't miss a beat as they slowly begin to frown at you in blatant disapproval. Their scowls deepen as time goes on, as if they're getting impatient. We're gonna try to leave. This is too weird. I need to get out of here. Gathering your courage, or perhaps putting your fear to use, you stand up, fully intending to leave the theater. When everything comes to an abrupt stop, all of the chanting stops, even the cats chanting on the screen. You tense and risk a glance around the theater. They're all staring at you. Every single one of them. They're not moving. They're not even blinking. You swallow, throat suddenly dry even though a nervous sweat completely soaks through your clothes. You highly doubt that sitting back down will fix the situation. Your legs are shaking under the audience's unnaturally intense scrutiny. But you force yourself to step forward and forward and forward until you finally reach the end of the aisle. You feel their collective gaze, even worse, on the staircase. All their heads have turned uncomfortably to the left to look directly at you. The screen illuminates their faces, making clear their blank scowls. They seem even more upset than they had been minutes ago, identical frown lines digging between their brows. You keep going, the heavy atmosphere becoming more and more oppressive with every step. You're so tense with anticipation that you fully expect someone to grab you from behind. But no one does. You don't hear any of them even get up. You exit the theater, holding your breath as the doors close behind you. You briskly walk through the halls, putting as much distance as possible between you and that theater full of people. Finally reaching the lobby, you just barely manage to catch yourself from falling to the floor as you gulp in huge gasps of air. You expect to feel relief as your breathing calms, but you feel a lingering sense of dread that only spikes once you finally notice it, as well as its source. You look up, and your stomach sinks. All the people in the lobby area of the movie theater, everyone in line at the concession stand, all of them are staring at you, and they look even angrier than the people in the theater. You duck your head, avoiding eye contact, and leave the cinema. You ignore the glares of everyone in the ticket booths and the lines leading to them. You make your way home. Whenever you dare to look up at someone on the way, you flinch at the blatant anger, fury, and disgust on their face. You think you start to hear the faint sound of a cat's meowing behind you, or maybe a kitten's? Doesn't matter, you just want to go home. You reach your front door and fumble with the keys, cowering from the look of pure hatred on your neighbor's face as he stares at you from his door. Finally, you get inside your apartment, lock all the locks on the door, and slide down with your back against it till you're sitting on the floor. You allow yourself a moment to breathe. Now home, your heartbeat calms, and your fear slowly bleeds from you, leaving you feeling strangely empty. You pass the kitchen, head to your room, and slip under the covers of your bed, trying to fall asleep. Maybe it's all just a bad dream. As you fall into a fitful sleep, sure to be full of nightmares and glaring eyes, you try to ignore the ever-increasing sounds of cats meowing and yowling in the distance outside your apartment. Ending 17. Black sheep. We're going to try to blend in with the crowd. Thinking fast, you look at the screen and begin to chant in tandem with the crowd. You feel the harshness of their collective gaze start to ebb away, the air in the theater becoming lighter once again. You release air shakily, just realizing that you'd been holding your breath earlier. You feel stuck. Surely, you can't just up and leave now. Not after whatever all that was. The people around you all seem fine now, but there's no telling if they'd get aggressive at you for even moving too much. Never mind outright getting up and leaving. You decide to let this run its course. Hopefully, someone will come along, right? Or at least turn the film off. You continue to chant along with everyone. You start to feel lightheaded. You feel as if you could fall asleep, but your eyes don't feel heavy in the slightest. You try to look around and gauge the other's emotional state, but you can't seem to look away from the screen. You try again, but you're still locked into eye contact with the cat on screen. You attempt to physically force your line of vision away. You steel your nerves, ready to throw yourself to the ground if you need to. But your body only gets as far as tensing up for a moment before completely loosening itself again, making you lay back limply into your seat. You think you should be panicking right about now, but even your brain feels limp. Your thoughts, a vaguely muted pastel pink, airy, sickeningly sweet and loosely spun, like cotton candy. You like cotton candy. You think you shouldn't mind your thoughts and body being like cotton candy either. So, why get up and ruin that? It's nice here. You're more at peace than you've ever felt before in such a crowded room. Still chanting, you've never felt so aligned and in tune with another person, let alone with an entire room full of complete strangers. You're not alone. Out of the corner of your eye, the person next to you starts to sink back even further into their chair. Then they sink more. Then more. Not like they're slouching or reclining, but more like they're deflating. Their skin bunches up and wrinkles like fabric, as if their muscles, their bones, have started to disintegrate. Their eyes dim before sinking into their sockets. Their mouths, still attempting to chant, falls open over a cut-off "yeah," gaping as the word ends in an awful hiss, a final, weak release of air. You muse thoughtfully about whether or not you should be distressed at the sight. But even then, the blanket of peace doesn't leave you. Suddenly, from the pile of skin and clothes next to you, you see a lump moving around. You watched in dazed fascination as the lump makes its way to the part of the skin where the head used to be. And from the mouth crawls a tiny, black kitten. You can hear the familiar hissing sound all around you now as the unified chant starts to fade, only to be replaced with the faint mewling of kittens. Finally, your voice is the only one still chanting, still human, and alone. Again. You don't want that. You can't go back to that. Not again. Not again. Please. Just then, you go completely limp. Your body feels light, but it might as well weigh several tons, because you realize quite suddenly that you can't move. Not an inch. You can't shift your eyes to look around. You can't even breathe. But somehow, the chant continues to creak weakly from your mouth. A few kittens come forward and perch themselves on the chairs around you, watching your sinking body, mewing as they wait for their youngest sibling to emerge. From you, dozens of glowing eyes peer down at you, and as your eyes start to cave into the sockets of their softening skull, you manage to make out the silhouette of a familiar cat perching on the seat right in front of you. Your vision finally fades, and as that same hiss of air expels itself from your mouth, the last thing you sense is something small and alive shifting eagerly under your skin. Ending 18. Happy birthday. Alright, now we're gonna go check out the carnival. We spend the day at the carnival. Ferris wheel, roller coaster, pharaoh boat. Rides you've been on before. Hoops, coin toss, balloon darts. Games you've played before. Funnel cake, popcorn, cotton candy. Food you've eaten before. All things you've enjoyed before. You're surrounded by groups of people, all having fun together. Laughing, playing, eating, taking pictures, making memories. And then there's you. The sun hasn't started to set yet, still high in the sky, but it will soon. You start to wonder if maybe you should just go home for the day. When you stop in your tracks, you see something new. An attraction you've never seen before. A maze of funhouse mirrors? It sounds kind of lame, honestly. There isn't even a line to get in. But then, what else is there to do? You enter the maze. A few rooms in, and you notice that the mirrors aren't all weird. Some just show you, looking back at yourself. A little bored, a lot tired, and so very, very... Maybe this was a mistake. Why did you think going into a maze of mirrors was a good idea? Even if it was something new to experience. I can't do this today. You turn around to head back out the way you came, only to bump into a mirror. Ow! What the? Where's the exit? You try again, only to find another mirror blocking your way. By the time you're all turned around, you've realized that the way you came in is completely gone. Okay, don't panic. I just have to keep going forward, right? You step through the only opening you can find and nearly trip over something on the ground. You bend down to pick it up. What's this doing here? You rest your hands on a worn-looking flashlight. Curious, you flick it on. Huh. The light doesn't look very... Crap, the lights. Did the power go out, or did the attraction operator forget you were in here? How long have you been in here, actually? You pull out your phone to check the time, or maybe call the police. Your phone is dead. You grip the flashlight in your hand. The light it emitted earlier was dim enough for you to know there's probably not that much juice left. Best to reserve it for a worst-case scenario and feel your way out. Yeah, you can do this. You take a calming breath. Well, forward we go. Hello, darling adventurer. Welcome to the Mirror Maze. Would you like to know how to navigate the maze? Once again, welcome to the Mirror Maze. You're in a bit of a jam, but don't worry. You're in good hands. Or rather, good paws. See these little cuties here? They'll be doing their best to guide you through the maze. Aren't they generous? When you enter a room, the emergency light will flash, letting you see the paths before you for a second. And also, what lies beyond them. Whenever you see these kind kitties, just go where they are and you'll reach the next room. Unfortunately, they're not the only things in here. It is highly suggested that you refrain from following any of our other guests. They can be sneaky or distracting, but they're always hostile. So please, take caution when advancing to the next room. Of course, this wouldn't be much of a mirror maze without mirrors. Can they hurt you? No, they're just mirrors, silly. They don't do anything at all. And you can't do anything to them either. They're just an obstacle you can't pass through. Go left, go center, go right. The choice is yours. Though, if you find a room with no helpful kitties in sight, and all the paths lead to a mirror or something else, it's recommended that you stay put. And just maybe, it will work itself out. Now, for your navigation tools. That flashlight you found doesn't have much juice left. It'll only let you get a quick extra peek at your surroundings about 5 times. So try not to use it all up at once. You can keep track of your progress through the rooms up to the left, and your lives to the right. You've got 3 lives, so be careful to avoid the less friendly guests lurking around. Why only 3 lives, you ask? Because you're soft and squishy. It wouldn't take much to damage you beyond repair. And besides, you're human. And humans usually only have the 1 life, yes? And yet here, you get 3. Don't you think you ought to show a little more gratitude? And that's the end of your tutorial. Hopefully it was helpful. Are you ready to play? Alright, here we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Right. Right. Left. Stay. This room feels off. Just wait. I think something just changed. Left. Okay, next room. Left. Okay, next room. Stay. This room feels off. Just wait. I think something just changed. Next room. Okay, 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 next room. Stay. Okay, this room feels off. Just wait. I think something just changed. Well, okay, next room. Right, okay, next room. You see it, the exit. You run forward, but as you do, the scenery shifts. Just slightly at first. But you're running too fast to stop yourself from colliding into the glass. Except, you don't quite go into the glass. You don't exactly collide with it either. You simply pass through it. On the other side, you see an endless white void and yourself? Dozens of you. Hundreds of you wandering around. Aimless. Faceless. And empty. So empty and listless, they don't even acknowledge your presence. You try to turn back, but the glass doesn't give. Past the glass, a familiar black cat walks up and looks at you. You think it meows at you, but you can't make out the sound. It tilts its head, then walks away. The glass goes dark. Then you watch helplessly as it disappears completely. You're trapped, with only yourself as company. Ending 19. You beat the maze. Alright, now we're gonna play through this again, but we're gonna fail. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we're going south. Not that way. One more. Suddenly, the lights turn on. Your eyes burn from the sudden brightness. As your vision adjusts, you see that you're completely surrounded by mirrors. The reflections, all grotesque in unique ways, look nothing like you. but they do look hungry. You back up. You don't know where to go. Was there even a way out to begin with? You bump into a mirror. You feel a hand firmly grip your shoulder. There's a sharp pain in your other shoulder. You rip away, looking back to see some thing leaning out of the mirror. Its face has no features, save for a large gaping mouth, stained in your blood. Looking around in a panic, you think that the mirrors feel closer than before. The path you'd come from is now long gone. You're surrounded, and every time you blink, you could swear the mirrors were getting closer, and closer, and closer, and... Ending 20. You failed the maze. Alright, this time we're gonna go check out the dog park. You decide to take a stroll in a park or something. The only one within walking distance is the nearby dog park. You think it'll make you feel better. First, you got to see a cute cat today. Now, you'll get to see a cute dog. Several of them, in fact. The park is bustling with owners and their canine companions, playing frisbee, fetch, running, jumping, even napping. Such cute whatever. Hey. Like you'd want to do something with these mangy mutts. What's wrong? You didn't think that. You decide to move on. The dogs are all so adorable. You want to pet every single one you come across. But you know not all the owners are cool strangers just walking up and manhandling their pets. Not all dogs appreciate it either. So you stroll around the park, trying to exude a welcoming aura that will beckon one of these cute doggies to you. You don't have to wait very long. You stop as the smallest, cutest puppy you've ever seen scampers up to you, blocking your path. Whoa! You pick up the puppy. Ah! You just barely manage to rein in the reflex to throw the puppy as far away from you as possible. With shaking hands, you quickly place the puppy on the grass and take several jerky steps back. The owner seems confused by your reaction to their puppy, but you just wave at them in a daze before hastily stumbling away. You're not feeling so great about being at the park at the moment. Maybe you should leave. We're staying. You stay at the park. You try to calm down by watching all the dogs from afar as you walk along the path. But every so often, one will run up to you. And when they do, they look wrong. Their owners don't even seem to notice. You find a bench and sit down for a quick break, closing your eyes. Maybe this wasn't the best idea after all. Maybe you should have stayed with me instead. You're broken out of your thoughts when something lands gently on your lap. You look down and see a frisbee on your thighs. Hey, sorry about that. Can you throw that back? You look up to see an owner waving at you in the distance. But more importantly, a series of excited barks jerks your gaze forward, and you see a large dog sprinting towards you. A series of excited barks jerks your gaze forward, and you see a large dog sprinting towards you. Hey, hurry and throw it back! You throw the frisbee, and the dog runs in the opposite direction, jumping and catching it right out of the air. Impressive. The dog and the owner walk up to you. Thanks for that. You can pet him if you want. The dog looks up at you, eager for its reward of pets and a pat for catching the frisbee. Should I? Pet dog. Really? Are you sure? I'm warning you. Do not touch that mutt, or you will regret it. Reach out your hand. And you pet the dog. The dog seems pleased. You don't feel well. Suddenly, the sky begins to darken rapidly. You look up along with all the pet owners to see that the sun has been eclipsed by the moon in the blink of an eye. You vaguely remember that you should never look directly at an eclipse, but for some reason, you don't look away. A loud, piercing yowl fills the air, shaking the ground beneath you. You instinctively move to lift your hands in order to shield your ears, but the hand that has been cautiously pressed upon the dog's head comes away with some resistance. Resistance, like sticky slime, almost cementing your hand to the dog's head. The slime stretches with your movement. The dog's head stretches with it too, as the canine begins to just melt. It melts and melts until it becomes a pile of goo at your feet. You dazedly look around for the dog's owner, only to find an empty pile of familiar clothes where they once stood. You see similar piles of clothes next to piles of goo scattered all across the park's open field. All the dogs, all their owners. The melted goo of the dog in front of you then starts to move with a shudder. It slithers across the grass towards the field in the center of the park. All the other piles of goo following after it. They mix and meld together into a single entity that shifts and undulates and bulges and grows. You watch in dazed horror as it then fills out and shapes itself. Into a behemoth of a dog. Snarling and frothing at the mouth, red eyes frantic and searching, before the glowing orbs land directly on you. The rumbling growl it emits is so low and deep you can feel the sound of it crash into you. No, you had your chance. Better start running. You try to run, but you're not fast enough. The behemoth barely takes a few leaps before it's already towering over you. It tears you apart until there's nothing left. Ending 21. Dog person. Alright, so instead of ignoring the cat and walking away, we're gonna choose to turn back now. No. How are you supposed to walk away from that? What kind of monster would you be if you could? You sigh a little and walk back to the cat. It looks almost hopeful, its tail swishing faster as it leans up a little more towards you, as if eager for your next move. And we're gonna stay. It's strange. The more you hesitate to leave the alley, the more you find yourself wondering, what's the point? You'll go where? Do what? What's the point when you're always doing all of it completely and utterly alone? Even going home to your apartment wouldn't help, would it? One bedroom, one bathroom, and one you living alone in it. It's been like that for so long. So long. You're startled when you feel an impossibly soft paw press lightly against your wet cheek. You didn't realize you'd been crying, or that your little breakdown had literally brought you to your knees right in front of the cat's box. You feel slightly embarrassed, but the cat responds as if it can sense your self-deprecating feelings creeping in. It presses its paw on your cheek 3 times in quick succession, as if trying to slap you out of your melancholic state. But they're so light, the slaps feel more like getting gently and eagerly petted. You can't help but laugh a little. Can't believe I'm having a meltdown in a dirty old alley with a stray cat comforting me. You smile and show your gratitude with a scratch to the cat's chin. Thanks. I'm fine, really. That just happens sometimes. I really do like being alone most of the time. It's the only time I feel comfortable being myself, you know? But even I get lonely every now and then. It's easy to ignore when I'm keeping myself busy. That's why I pushed myself to go out today, I think. Or maybe I was hoping to make a friend or something. Though, I guess that wouldn't be a good idea. I doubt someone like me would make for a very good friend to anyone. Okay. Maybe I won't go so far as to say that, but you stay and just talk to the cat about anything that comes to mind. Your isolation, your loneliness, your many fears, your losses, your emptiness. Although, the longer you stay there, the smaller that once significant emptiness feels. It's been so long since someone just listened. Your words shift to gentler topics. Your hopes, your dreams, happy memories of the past. As you talk, you don't even notice the once cold concrete walls of the alley becoming flesh-like, warm and pink, its softness slowly engulfing the both of you. The sound of your own voice feels hypnotic as it reaches your ears, encouraging you to speak more of the depths of your heart into the open. You give in easily. When you do run out of words, you're not sure how long you've been sitting there. But not knowing doesn't seem to bother you. Still, a strange question enters your mind. Why would I want to do that? You're too tired to move. Pouring out your heart and soul has taken a surprising toll on you, but you have no regrets. You're so happy. You don't think you've ever felt so heard, so seen. You lean forward to rest your head on the box. You don't feel the rough cardboard you were expecting. Instead, you find yourself resting on a mass of something. Something soft and slightly damp and warm. So warm. But you can't find it in you to care on what it could be. You're so tired. You close your eyes, and you get the feeling that they'll probably never open again. But as that all-encompassing warmth encases you slowly, completely, you feel nothing but pure contentment. Ending 22. Not alone. Okay, so now this time we're going to do the same thing. Aw, how are you supposed to walk away from that? What kind of monster would you be if you could? You sigh a little and walk back to the cat. It looks almost hopeful, its tail swishing faster as it leans up a little more towards you, as if eager for your next move. But this time, we have to leave again. You really can't afford to take the cat home with you. Well, maybe it wouldn't be completely impossible. A few extraneous luxuries cut here and there, and you could see things working out, sure. But there's a slight problem that's been making you waver this whole time. One you simply can't ignore. The problem being that you just can't trust this cat. It sounds ridiculous, even in your head. Cats don't require trust to care for. They're incapable of betrayal or deception specifically because, like other animals, they only seek out the most basic essentials of living, procreation, and comfort. Malice isn't something that could ever logically be applied to them, and yet you feel it. That behind that gut-wrenchingly adorable face is something dangerous. And that something brought you here. It called you here. You're a curious person, but even you can't shake the deep, instinctual desire to get away from it, get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. The cat's face looks blank. It's an expression you've seen on many cats before, but something about it feels sharper. Like it's aware of your thoughts and your intention to leave. And it's daring you to try. You slowly stand up. The cat tracks your movement with its eyes, not bothering to move its head. You don't say a word. You try not to even think. Get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. Though you don't really succeed. You turn around and quickly leave the alley, feeling those sharp eyes on you the whole way. When you get a good distance away, you finally take in deep gulps of air. You feel better now. And there's still plenty of time left to enjoy your day off. As long as you forget everything that just happened. But what to do? We're gonna go watch a movie. It's been a while since a film came out that looked interesting enough for you to drag yourself to a movie theater. But there's a showing of one such film at the old theater. It was a little too niche to be picked up by the new theater that opened right across the street. That's okay though, you're not exactly a fan of the crowds. And nothing ruins the experience of watching a new movie for you more than a noisy audience. You eagerly buy your ticket from the kind old man in the booth and head inside. What the? How did you get back here? Get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. You leave the alley, quickly. What now? And we're just gonna try the same thing again. We're going to the new cinema now. You don't know why, but you don't really feel great about the idea of being alone right now. Deciding to wait for the movie you've been anticipating to be available on DVD or streaming, you join the long line outside the new cinema. By the time you reach the ticket booth, you just want to get inside. So you pick a movie at random and take your ticket from the tired-looking teenager manning the booth. You head inside. The cat's face looks. Get away from it. Get away from it. You leave the alley, quickly. What now? Go to the carnival. You spend the day at the carnival. Ferris wheel, roller coaster, Pharaoh boat. Rides you've been on before. Hoops, coin toss, balloon darts. Games you've played before. Funnel cake, popcorn, cotton candy. Food you've eaten before. All things you've enjoyed before. You're surrounded by groups of people, all having fun together. Laughing, playing, eating, taking pictures, making memories. And then there's you. The sun hasn't started to set yet, still high in the sky, but it will soon. You start to wonder if maybe you should just go home for the day, when you stop in your tracks. You see something new, an attraction you've never seen before. A maze of funhouse mirrors? It sounds kinda lame, honestly. There isn't even a line to get in. But then, what else is there to do? You enter the maze. The cat's face looks. Get away from it. Get away from it. Get away from it. You leave the alley. We're gonna go to the dog park. You decide to take a stroll in the park or something. The only one within your walking distance for the day is the nearby dog park. You think it'll make you feel better. First you get to see a cute cat today. Now you'll get to see a cute dog. Several of them, in fact. The park is bustling with owners and their canine companions. Playing frisbee, fetch, running, jumping, even napping. You decide to move on. Dogs are all so adorable. You want to pet every single one you come across. But you know not all owners are cool with strangers just walking up and manhandling their pets. Not all dogs appreciate it either. So you stroll around the path, trying to exude a welcoming aura that will beckon one of these cute doggies to you. You don't have to wait very long. You stop as the smallest, cutest puppy you've ever seen scampers up to you, blocking your path. Puppy. You pick up the puppy and... The cat's face looks. It's... Get away from it. Get away from it.
Meow, 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 meow.
You leave the alley quickly. What now? Go home. Wait. Haven't you done this before? You feel sick. Looking around, you suddenly realize that unlike earlier, there isn't a single person in sight. You're alone. You're completely alone. So why do you feel like you're being watched right now? You feel your heartbeat start to race. You need to get home. Now. You walk back home, the feeling of eyes on your back getting worse with each step. By the time you're fumbling with the keys at your door, you're soaked through with cold sweat. Your skin prickles and itches. The heavy gaze you feel might as well be eyeballs physically pressing into your flesh. Sticky and unnatural. You finally get inside and... The weight of relief and the sigh that escapes through your lips actually causes you to physically shudder. The horrible feeling from earlier immediately dissipates as if it were never there. In the wake of its departure, you're left shaking and cold in your sweat-soaked clothes. But you're too relieved to care. Exhausted, you mentally pass on the very concept of eating and head straight to your bedroom. You open the door. Not again. No. No. You back up in fear. Eyes trained on the cat and its horrifying grin. You need to escape. You need to get out. But if even home isn't safe anymore, where will you go? You risk a glance around you and... You see that the walls all around you have become fleshy and lined with sharp teeth. The ground now a tongue writhing under your feet. In horror, you realize that the alley's entrance is getting smaller and smaller, closing like a mouth. You try to run for the exit. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide. But trying to run on the tongue slows your speed significantly as you stumble and trip. No. You watch helplessly as the last sliver of light from the entrance tightens beyond a size you can never hope to squeeze through. As darkness falls over you, you feel the damp humidity of the mouth all around you. The walls of teeth, fangs, take their time closing in. Closer and closer and... Ending 23. Feedback loop. Alright, so that was 8 more endings there. We got 16 more. So judging by that, maybe 2 more videos. This one took a lot longer than I was expecting. So hopefully 2 more. And then we'll be all done. So yeah, that was all the Leave the Cat endings. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all so much. If you want to support the channel again, there is a Patreon down below. It's still kind of a work in progress. I'm figuring some stuff out. Maybe sell some merch there when the time comes. So if you guys want to check it out, you have any suggestions for me, just let me know. I do have a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. So you guys are more than welcome to reach out at any point. And, yeah, we'll chat. But until then, you guys take care of yourselves.